Cats are mysterious little creatures. Anyone who has ever lived with one knows that they operate on a completely different emotional language than we do. And because of that, there are so many moments where we think we're doing the right thing for them, while the cat quietly wishes we understood something entirely different. What's funny is that cats actually love certain things that many owners almost never do. Not because people don't care, but because the signals are subtle and they're easy to miss. A cat won't give you a speech about their needs. They won't sit you down and explain their preferences. Instead, they communicate through tiny behaviors, slow blinks, quiet followings, gentle head bumps, and sometimes even the strange things they do when we least expect it. If you've ever looked at your cat and thought, I wish I understood what's going on in that little head, you're not alone. And honestly, that curiosity is one of the best signs that you truly love your cat. In fact, before we go further, I want to say something personal. If you're someone who takes the time to learn about your cat instead of just feeding them and moving on with your day, you're already doing more than most people. And if that sounds like you might enjoy the kind of conversations we have here. You can always like the video or subscribe if these little insights about cats resonate with you. Not because it helps the channel, but because it helps build a small community of people who genuinely care about understanding animals better. Now, the first thing cats absolutely love, something they wish their humans did more often, is something surprisingly simple: slow, calm attention. Most people interact with their cats the way they interact with dogs or even other humans. Quick pets, loud greetings, excited voices. But cats are incredibly sensitive to emotional energy. When you move slowly, sit quietly, and allow them to approach you on their own terms, it creates a feeling of safety that cats crave more than almost anything. If you've ever noticed your cat slowly blinking at you from across the room, that's not random. That's actually a sign of trust. In cat language, slow blinking means, I feel safe with you. And the amazing thing is that when humans return that slow blink, many cats interpret it as a sign of affection. Yet most owners never do this. They simply don't know. Imagine loving someone deeply, but never speaking the one phrase that makes them feel understood. That's how it is for many cats. They're quietly offering a gesture of trust and hoping we notice. The second thing cats love, but rarely receive enough of, is predictable routine. Now, this might sound boring to us because humans often like variety and spontaneity, but cats find comfort in knowing what comes next. In the wild, survival depended on patterns: when to hunt, when to rest, when the environment was safe. That instinct never disappeared. So when a cat knows that every evening around the same time you sit on the couch, or that breakfast happens shortly after you wake up, it builds a sense of emotional stability for them. When routines change constantly, cats can become anxious without us realizing it. You might notice them meowing more, pacing around the house, or even sitting quietly and watching you as if they're trying to understand what's different. They're not being dramatic, and they're just trying to reconnect with a sense of predictability. I've had moments where I noticed my own cat waiting by the same spot every night, almost like they were expecting something. At first I thought it was random, then I realized it was the time we usually sat together. That realization actually made me pause. And if you've ever had a similar moment with your cat, where you suddenly realized they were paying more attention to your habits than you thought, I'd genuinely love to hear about it in the comments. Those little stories are often the most fascinating part of being a cat owner. The third thing cats love, something owners almost never think about, is shared silence. Humans often feel the need to fill quiet moments. We talk, we move, we check our phones, we turn on the television. But cats experience connection differently. Sometimes the most meaningful interaction you can have with a cat is simply existing in the same space without demanding anything from them. If you've ever had your cat quietly curl up near you while you're reading, working, or even just sitting there thinking, that moment means a lot to them. They chose that spot. They chose that closeness. And they did it because your presence feels safe. Many owners accidentally interrupt these moments by constantly trying to pet or move the cat, but cats often prefer a balance, closeness without pressure. In a strange way, cats might be teaching us something about relationships that humans forget. that being together doesn't always require constant activity. Sometimes the deepest comfort comes from simply sharing the same quiet space. The fourth thing cats absolutely love is gentle conversation. Now, I know that sounds strange because cats don't understand our words in the way humans do, but they are incredibly tuned in to tone and rhythm. When you speak to your cat calmly, especially using a soft and consistent voice, they recognize that emotional pattern. Have you ever noticed how some cats start responding with little chirps or quiet meows when their owner talks to them? That's not coincidence. That's a form of conversation in their world. Cats who grow up hearing gentle voices directed toward them often become more socially responsive. It's almost like they learn that communication is safe and welcome. And honestly, this is something many owners forget to do. Life gets busy. We rush around the house thinking about work, responsibilities, or whatever stress we're carrying. Meanwhile, the cat is sitting there quietly observing us. A simple sentence, something like, "Hey buddy, how was your day?" might sound silly to another human, but to a cat, it's a sign that you're including them in your world. If you're still watching at this point, by the way, that probably means you're someone who already cares a lot about your cat's emotional life. And that honestly makes me happy to see channels like this exist, because there are people out there who want to understand animals on a deeper level. So if you enjoy these kinds of conversations, subscribing isn't really about supporting a channel. It's more about keeping these discussions going among people who appreciate them. The fifth and maybe most surprising thing cats love is feeling useful in your life. And this might sound odd because cats are often described as independent or even indifferent. But many cats actually enjoy being involved in what their humans are doing. That's why they sit on your keyboard while you work. That's why they follow you into the kitchen. That's why they appear the moment you open a box or start folding laundry. And from a human perspective, it can feel like they're getting in the way. But from the cat's perspective, they're participating. They're part of the environment that matters to them, you. In nature, cats observe everything around them. They monitor movement, sounds, patterns. So when you're doing something interesting, their instinct is to be close and understand what's happening. When we gently include them, letting them sit nearby, acknowledging their presence, it satisfies that instinct to belong to the activity happening in their territory. And maybe that's the deeper message behind all of this. Cats don't necessarily want constant attention, expensive toys, or elaborate entertainment. What they truly love are small moments of recognition. A slow blink returned, a calm routine, a shared quiet moment, a soft voice, a chance to be part of your world. And the truth is, most cats are already trying to connect with us in these ways. And the real question is whether we notice. If you think about it, cats spend their entire lives learning how to live in a human world that wasn't designed for them. They adapt to our schedules, our homes, our habits. The least we can do is learn a little about how they experience life in return. And if even one of these little insights makes you look at your cat differently tonight, maybe when they sit beside you or blink slowly from across the room, then this conversation was worth having. Because understanding animals isn't about mastering some complicated system. It's about noticing the quiet language that was always there.